Greetings, my good man.
Ask first.
Really?
I was just...
Then it's...
Thank heavens I've found...
I see.
I'll slaughter you! Give up! Ow! Ow! Yeah. What's the matter? Come on!
Good health to you.
Do you know where I can find Ginger, a stable boy from Neuhof?
Why don't you try Neuhof?
He was there, but now everyone says he's hiding with some charcoal burner friends of his.
Ah, well, I can't help you there. I've heard nothing about it. Or him.
Jesus Christ be praised.
Good day to you.
I found those bandits and took care of them.
I'm glad to hear it, if it's true.
If you don't believe me, I can take you to their bodies.
All right. I'll take your word for it. Ginger's hiding out in a ruined hut not far from here. You go north along the road to Ujits until you see a path to the right that leads to a spring. There's an overgrown path from there that'll lead you to where Ginger is. But it's easy to miss it.
Thank you. Jesus, you've led me a merry dance.
What do you want from me?
I want to ask you a couple of questions. Why did you run off like that? Where are your cronies? And why did you kill that bandit?
What?
Right, one thing at a time. Why did you kill that bandit?
What? Bandit? I never killed anyone.
This is yours, isn't it? I pulled it from the belly of a dead bandit near the stud farm.
That is mine, but I didn't stab him. That fellow took it from me.
What fellow?
I don't know his name, but he's from Ujits, and he has a limp.
What can you tell me about him? How do you know him?
I saw him a few times in the tavern in Ujits, playing dice and boozing.
And?
I know he lives in a house on the edge of the village, but that's all I know. I never talked to him.
Why did you run off in such a hurry?
Because I was afraid they'd come back and kill me.
Who?
Those bandits, of course.
To get revenge on you for killing their mate?
Killing? Me? I never killed anyone. God is my witness.
I'm looking for your friends. Where are they?
The charcoal burners? They're over at the...
To hell with the charcoal burners. Where are your bandit mates?
They're not my mates. They nearly killed me. I recognized one of them, so I thought they'd come back and...
Recognise? Who was it? Talk!
I don't know his name, only that he's from Ujits and he has a limp.
He limps and he's from Ujits. That's not much to go on, but I suppose it'll have to do.
It's all I know. I never talked to him.
And now tell me exactly what happened. And don't leave anything out.
That's quite a long story.
Don't worry, I won't get bored.
All right. I woke up in the middle of the night because I needed to go for a piss. So I went out into the dark, same as usual, only there was something there that shouldn't have been. At first I thought it was just a trick of the light, but it wasn't. Then it was too late. They went past and I thought they must be horse thieves. I would have yelled, only I was afraid they'd kill me. So I waited until they were out of sight and I started to sneak away, but then...
Then the slaughtering started.
Yes. I thought they'd steal the horses and ride off. That would be bad enough, but then all the killing started and flames everywhere. It was terrible, like hell itself.
And then?
It seemed some of them didn't like it either. They started squabbling among themselves, and some of them started running back where they came from, right towards me. And I had that thing in my hand, the hoof pick.
So you stabbed the first one in the belly?
No. He ran right into me. He was running fast for a fellow with a limp. He pushed me aside and I fell on the ground. Then he told me I'd better lie low if I valued my life. And he ran off with the others. I did what he said and hid. Then the rest of the gang ran past.
And then?
Then I waited in case that limping one from Ujits came back. I didn't dare come out until I was sure. I think it was almost light.
What about the others? Was there anything you noticed about them?
I don't know. There might have been maybe 8 of them, and 2 of them were really big. That's all I can remember.
Do you know what they argued about?
I didn't hear everything, but I reckon some of them were only there to steal and wanted no part in the killing.
That sounds terrible. I know exactly how you feel.
If only I yelled. Maybe they...
If you had, you'd most likely be dead. It probably wouldn't have done any good anyway.
But still...
There was nothing you could do. That's all. I've heard everything I need to hear, so I'll leave you be.
Wait! What about me? Won't you help me out?
Perhaps I could. What would you like?
I'd like to go back to the stud farm, but those cutthroats who want to kill me are still around. Will you help me?
I suppose I could. Do you know where I can find them?
I don't, but they must be lurking about somewhere.
Well, I'll have a look. But if I find them, then...
I understand.
Henry, I'm glad you came. The Lord be praised. What brings you to me?
My lord, I managed to find a clue to the whereabouts of the bandits.
Excellent. Bernard already told me what's been happening, but I'd like to hear it straight from the horse's mouth.
The whole story, or just the gist of it, sir?
It's up to you what you consider important.
Well, in the end, I tracked down the stable boy who fled in fear of his life, and for good reason, too. He put me on the trail of a crofter from Ujit with a limp.
And his name?
The boy didn't know him by name, only by sight. But if I ask around, I'm sure folk will know who limps and keeps peculiar company. Villagers like to gossip.
But what if he's not there? He could have fled, maybe even to Kuttenberg.
If I don't find him in Ujits, I'll ask around. Someone will know something about him.
All right. Better go to Ujits then. Find this limping footpad and get the names of the others out of him. They have to face justice for what they did. I want to see them hang. Then bring him to me in Merhoyed and I'll decide on his fate.
Certainly, sir.
Judging by that ugly gob, you must be Henry.
What do you want with me?
Miller Peshak described you in detail. And he was also pretty clear about what we should do to you to jog your memory.
Huh? I don't understand.
They nursed you back to health at the mill, and somebody had to pay for it. Or have you hit your head again and can't even remember that? Don't worry, we know it's you.
I'll pay it all back. Just leave me alone.
Good thing you've come to your senses. Now hand over the money.
Are you serious?
Greetings, Henry.
God save you, Henry.
God be with you.
Can you show me how to repair armor and weapons better?
Certainly.
I'd like to practice the basics.
All right. But it'll cost you.
Maybe another time. Let's have a word about the price.
Aye.
How are you, Henry?
Satisfied?
That sounds pretty interesting. A little less and I'll be satisfied.
Welcome, Henry.
Well, that's a decent price.
How are you, Henry?
I'd like to discuss the price.
Naturally.
Good day, Henry.
Agree?
We're getting there. Just drop the price a bit more.
Very well, I agree.
you stop by.
Thank you.
Welcome, Henry.
Thank you 100-fold. You have a good heart.
I'm glad to see you.
Are you the brawler who takes bets?
What's it to you?
I'm glad you stopped
I'm a
by.
Skalitz refugee, and I'd like to try my luck against you.
Hang on, I know who you are. And I'll only fight you for silver. Got it?
Why for silver?
Do I really have to tell you? Look at yourself, and then look at the others. All they've got to wager is their labour. But you've got coin.
Are there any rules?
Aye, a couple. Whoever lands on his arse or runs, loses. And no knives, axes, or any of that shit. You'll forfeit your wager for that, got it?
Good health to you.
All right, let's fight then, if you think you can take me.
Hold your horses, laddie. First, you have to prove you're a worthy opponent for me by beating 2 other regular brawlers.
Stephen, and a fellow they call Ringlet.
All right, let's fight then, if you think you can take me.
Hold your horses, laddie. First, you have to prove you're a worthy opponent for me.
Let's fight.
I told you.
How are you, Henry? How's it going?
God be with you. What can I do for you?
God be with you, Henry.
God be with you.
I hear you're able to open locks without a key. Will you teach me how?
Certainly.
I'd like to practice the basics.
All right, but it'll cost you.
Isn't that quite a lot? Agree?
Well, a little more and we'll call it a deal. Agreed. Now listen up.
Don't you want to do something together again?
It's late now, but come by earlier tomorrow.
What do you think you're doing? I've a mind to call the guards.
What do you think you're doing? I've a mind to call the guards. Good day, Henry.
God save you, Henry.
Henry, I'm glad you stopped by.
God be with... Got bellyache, have you? That's nasty.
God save you, Henry.
What's going on there? Hey, who's there? Are you deaf? Hey!
I'll never scour these things out.
When I find him, I'm going to enjoy this. Is that all you got? You call that combat? I'll slay you for that. What's the matter? Gone weak at the knees, have you?
Jesus Christ be praised.
I'd like to improve my swordsmanship.
Certainly.
I'd like to hone my skills.
First, you have to have some skills to hone.
I'm interested in more advanced techniques.
Wouldn't you rather learn the basics first?
Well, I'll think it over. I'm looking for a fellow who lives here, but I don't know his name. Do you know anyone with a limp?
Aye, he lives here all right. The devil take him. In a cottage at the end of the village by the road to Neuhof.
Hey, is someone there?
Move along, citizens. Move along. There's nothing to see here.
If that's what you call nothing to see, I'd like to know what something to see looks like.
By the keys of St. Peter, this is all I need. We'll have to send word to Sir Hanush.
That might not be necessary.
Who are you?
I'm Henry of Skalitz, in the service of Hanush's Captain Bernard. I'm investigating the attack at Neuhof, and I think this could be related.
Well, I'm the bailiff of Auschwitz. And I say we don't want any of that kind of trouble around here. What makes you think this has anything to do with Neuhof?
One of the folk at the stud farm recognized someone from Auschwitz among the bandits.
We have no bandits or murderers around here.
Really? They say he had a limp?
Shit. Well, allow me to introduce you to Limpy Lubosh. Or all that's left of him.
Sacre. Nothing's ever easy. I'll have to take a look around and ask a few more questions, if that's all right with you.
You can take this mess off my hands and welcome to it. As for what else there is to find out, I don't know. But look and ask all you like.
Who was Limpy Lubosh?
A poor crofter and a scoundrel. Can't say I'm too surprised what happened to him. He kept company with all sorts of vermin. He was always getting into some kind of trouble. Punch-ups in the tavern and what have you.
How come he limped?
He got that from some villainy or brawl a long time ago.
Has he been up to anything suspicious lately?
I don't know. The last few days he didn't go anywhere. He was home the whole time. But he always kept everyone in the village at arm's length.
Did he have any kith or kin in the village?
None. A loner he was. I don't know the last time I saw him with anyone.
Do you happen to know where he was on the night of the Neuhof raid?
I've no idea. He kept his distance from other folk, so you never knew if he was away or holed up at home.
When did you find the body? And did anyone see anything?
Just now, and nobody saw or heard anything. I don't know how they could gut him like that without someone hearing him scream.
I want to learn to read. Who should I go and see?
There's a retired scribe in Uzhitz. He could teach you.
Another thing about Lubosh. I've come in the name of Sahanish of Lipa. I'm investigating the massacre in Neuhof, and now a murder here as well. Can I ask you a few questions?
I don't know how I can help you, but ask if you must.
Who was this Lubosh who was murdered?
You could see at first glance he was no good. I kept well out of his way.
Have you noticed anything suspicious recently?
There wasn't sight or sound of him for a long time, and then yesterday he turned up at the church and even talked to the parish priest. I never saw him do that before. Probably had a bad conscience.
Do you know what Lubosh was doing the day Neuhof was raided?
I don't think he was home. I didn't see him all day.
Do you know who Lubosh used to spend time with? Kin or friends?
As far as I know, he had nobody at all in this world.
That's all. Thank you.
God be with you.
I've come in the name of Sahanish of Lipa. I'm investigating the massacre in Neuhof, and now a murder here as well. Can I ask you a few questions?
I don't know nothing about it, but ask all you want.
That man Lubosh who was murdered, what was he like?
I didn't really know him. He kept to himself, even in the tavern.
Have you noticed anything suspicious recently?
Come to think of it, he was in church yesterday. He was even talking to the priest and went to confession. I was wondering what he was up to take to the faith all of a sudden. But I suppose no sin's too dark for God's mercy.
Do you know what Lubosh was doing the day Neuhof was raided?
I was coming from the tavern very late that night, and I caught a glimpse of someone entering the village. He looked like he was in a hurry. It was only a shadow against the sky, but after what happened, I wouldn't wonder.
Do you know anyone Lubosh used to spend time with, relatives or friends?
Not with anyone from the village. He used to sit in the tavern next to us sometimes, but he never said much.
That's all. Thank you.
Jesus Christ be praised.
I've come in the name of Sahanish of Lipa.
I don't know nothing about it, but ask all you want.
Have you noticed anything suspicious recently?
Come to think of it, he was in... I was wondering what he was up to.
Do you know what Lubosh was doing the day Neuhof was raided?
I was coming from the tavern very late that night, and I caught a... He looked like he...
That's all. Thank you. I'd like you to show me how...
Certainly.
Well, I'll think it over.
Good day to you. What do you need?
I've come in the name of Sir Hanush of Light.
Of course. Ask away.
That man Lubosh who was murdered, what was he like?
What is it?
He was a drunk who was always looking for a fight. Nobody liked him much, but I wouldn't wish an end like that on any man.
Have you noticed anything suspicious recently?
Well, now I think of it, I hadn't seen him around for a while. No idea where he was skulking.
Do you know what Lubosh was doing the day Neuhof was raided?
Not a clue.
Do you know anyone Lubosh used to spend time with, relatives or friends?
He was a loner. We didn't even have any mates in the tavern.
That's all. Thank you.
Thief! Thief!
Huh?
What the hell? Catch him! Damn it! Alarm!
Please! Anyone! There!
You live here?
Of course.
I mean here, in the presbytery.
Yeah, right here.
In the presbytery? With the parish priest?
Yes. What's the matter? Don't you like me?
Yes, of course I like you.
So why are you surprised Godwin likes me too?
I'm not. I mean, I see. I think.
What are you after?
I'm stocking up. That's the law.
My respects to you. What can I get you?
There'll be quite a lot. That's everything.
Thanks. Here is your change.
Ah, watch where you're going.
Get the hell out of here. There's nothing here for you.
Ah,
What was
be
that
a bit.
noise? Well then.
What the hell?
Here we are.
What are you up to here? Lost something?
Yeah.
Hey, you! Ho!
You'll have to answer for your law breaking.
Enough!
One beer.
You've been making trouble and beating people up. We don't put up with that around here. This definitely won't come cheap. You'll learn. Crime
What
doesn't
is it?
pay.
I can't pay that.
Well, it's a jail cell for you then.
Here we are.
Jail? All right, let's go and get it over with quick.
Get moving. I hope you rot there.
Jesus Christ be praised.
Can we trade?
If you've got the coin.
Henry! I'm glad you stopped by. What have we here? Come now. God save Henry. Has something happened? May the Lord watch over you, Henry. What's going on out there? Come now. Good health to you, Henry. Has something happened? Hey, look out!
Want to earn a bit of coin? Stop and talk a while at least. Now! There's nothing to it. There's plenty of coin in it.
Blood will be spilled. You get bring it on.
Yeah.
You all get what for.
No!
I'm going.
Oh. Well landed. Fucking dogs and pieces of rats.
Is that all you've got? Now.
When did you find the body? And did anyone see anything?
Good date.
I've come... Have you noticed anything...
Well...
That man Lou... Do you know what Lou...
Not...
Do you know anyone... That's all. Thank you. I've come in the name... Have you noticed anything suspicious recently?
There wasn't sight or sound of him for a long time, and then yesterday he turned up at the church and even talked to the parish priest. I never...
That's all. Thank you.
I'll get you! Stop him, someone! Stop him, someone! God damn! Fucking come on then! Are you going to cry now? What the hell are you doing? You showed him. Thank you, that thieving magpie. You can't trust anyone these days. And just so you know, I'm no pinch purse. Here's a small reward.
Thanks.
God save you,
Good
Henry.
people, have mercy on me. Thank you. Thank you 100-fold. Have a good heart.
Good day to you.
I'd like to learn to read.
You? You don't look like the makings of a priest or clerk. But why not? I've taught all sorts. Bear in mind, it won't be all that easy. You'll need plenty of time and a few groschen for my trouble.
All right. I don't want to waste time. We can get started. The sooner I master it, the better.
Very well. I will require some groschen from you, though, and set aside at least a couple of days so I can put you through your paces, if indeed time is of the essence.
Here are your groschen.
Then we may as well start. No. He did break his vow, but better than to dishonor it here. May he follow his heart. Wake up, lad. It's time we were getting on. So, let's see you read a bit. There's a book here on the table. Try to read it.
Will I manage?
You ought to be able to. It's a simple text. Come back once you've worked your way through it.
I've read the book.
Wonderful. So tell me, what have you learned?
There was something about some fellow and a goose.
Ah, well, the main thing is you've managed to read the book. The rest is just practice. Only through a careful reading will you uncover the real meaning of the text. No book is written on a mere whim and without purpose. Like I told you, books are valuable, and the words that you place in them ought to be no less so.
Does that mean that I can read then?
Yes, you have the foundation. Remember, my boy, the pen is mightier than the sword. To fully learn your way around words will take a lot more reading yet. Now we'll move on to the second lesson, which will be much harder. Many books are written in Latin, the language of erudite and religious men. If you really want to be able to read, there's no getting away from Latin. There's a book on the table with some text. Read it and then come back. You need not understand it, but you should master the letters.
I only just managed the fable about the goose, and now you're asking me to tackle Latin.
You're a clever lad. You'll manage.
I read the page.
So tell me, Distrupule, what's written there?
Nullus est liber tam malus, ut non alique parte prosit.
Good heavens! Don't tell me you haven't had lessons before. Excellent. Well, there's nothing more I can teach you. Congratulations. You can go and be ordained right away.
Thank you, Domine. I'm feeling a lot wiser. The blessings of our good Lord be with you, Father. I'm here in the name of Sir Hanush of Lipa, investigating the massacre at Neuhof, which seems to be connected to a murder here. Can I ask you a few questions?
It seems Sir Hanush is employing children as investigators. But ask as you wish, boy. I hope this nasty business will be cleared up quickly.
Did you know Lubosh? What was he like?
Bit of a lost soul. Simple, rough fellow, but at heart I don't think he was such a bad person.
Did you notice anything suspicious recently?
My child, all sorts of suspicious things have been going on recently. People like Lubosh don't know what to do about it, and sometimes they do stupid things.
That's really not a lot of help to me, Father.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Do you know what Lubosh was doing on the day Neuhof was raided?
Unfortunately, I do know. And I'd like to help you with your investigation, but I can't.
What?
I'm bound by certain vows that forbid me to tell you.
Vows more important than catching dangerous murderers?
There are laws of God above the laws of man, son, and one of those is the sanctity of the confessional.
Father, surely you can't be serious. There must be situations in which you can make an exception.
There are things that apply always, no matter what the circumstances, and this is one of them.
For heaven's sake, Father, can you really look me in the eye and tell me that, when you know you may be condemning innocent people to death?
I can, because if I broke that vow, the consequences would be much worse than if I didn't. Maybe not immediately, but one day. The mills of God grind slowly.
Father, Lubosh was my only lead to the Neuhof raiders. Only he could tell me who was responsible for that massacre. If I don't find out who it was, it will probably happen again. Surely you wouldn't want that.
I wouldn't. But I can't betray the sanctity of the confessional. I'll tell you what. Give me some time and I'll try to think up some way of helping you. Suppose we talk it over in the evening, in the tavern, over a cup of good wine. Maybe we'll come up with something.
All right. Thank you, Father.
God be with you.
Can I sleep here?
I suppose I could find something. For how long?
Just the one night?
No problem, but you pay in advance.
Here you go.
You'll like it here. Like sleeping on a cloud, it is.
Where do I go to sleep?
You'll have no trouble finding it. Right inside the door to the building, there's a ladder up to the loft. Your bed's ready there, and a trunk for your belongings.
Do you need help?
Hey!
Good health to you.
One beer. What?
Why are you creeping around like a footpad?
I'll have a beer.
The blessings of our Lord be...
And with you, lad. Take a seat.
Mother of God!
I'm sorry I can't tell you everything. But maybe we can work something out. But first I'd like to hear something about you, my son. With whom do I have the honor? Where are you from?
I'm from Skalitz.
Oh, I'm sorry. What about your kin?
They're dead.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. Here, we'll drink to them. It must have been terrible.
It was terrible. It seemed so pointless. We had no warning. They just appeared and began the slaughter. God knows why. They killed anyone who didn't make it to the shelter of the castle. My parents, my girl, even the Deutsch who was on Sigismund's side. I didn't make it to the castle. I wanted to try and help my parents, but there was nothing I could do. Then I fled to Talmberg with the Cumans on my heels. They almost killed me. They slaughtered people in the surrounding villages. There was a pile of bodies in front of the church in Rovna. Folk who tried to take refuge there, but they...
My poor child. May God grant them eternal rest. And how did you come to get this assignment? I'd have expected Sir Hanish to send that old grouch, Bernard.
He did, but I found a witness and the trail led here to Ujits, so he sent me here to follow it up.
Ah, well, congratulations. It's nice to see someone using their head to find things out instead of torture. We'll have to drink to that. Now the most important thing. What actually happened at Neuhof? The good folks hereabout are saying all kinds of terrible things, but I take most of it with a pinch of salt.
The rumours aren't exaggerated this time, unfortunately. The Neuhof stud farm was raided by bandits, but they didn't come to pillage or even take the horses. They only wanted to kill. They maimed the horses and slaughtered some people. I'm sure they would have killed more, but the bandits quarrelled among themselves and broke off the attack. And judging by what's left of our Lubosh, they're still settling accounts.
I see it's every bit as bad as people claimed. Dreadful. Well then, here's to those poor souls who had to die so pointlessly and so terribly.
I've told you all about me. Now it's your turn, Father. You don't look much like our parish priest at home. Well, we've had an agreeable chat, but now let's get down to business. So, about this confessional seal. Do you really want more innocent people to die?
Henry, that's not how it works. There are matters in which you can't make exceptions because if you do it once, you'll forever be tempted to do it again. If people stop believing in the church because their confessional secrets are betrayed, they won't trust anyone, and that's worse than even the most hideous crime.
You're just making excuses. The people who say the church is corrupt are right. You don't care about anyone, only your own comfort.
I'm sorry you see it that way. Really sorry. You've no idea how wrong you are.
I always wondered about the things a priest tells his congregation. Where on earth do you get the ideas for your sermons?
Well, Ujits isn't Prague. It's not enough to instruct people. They have to be entertained, too. If I only read from the Bible, I'd soon be preaching to an empty church.
Our priest wasn't exactly a bard. So what do you preach to your flock about?
It has to be something topical, condemning vices, and of course describing them in detail. A tongue lashing about the two popes goes down well these days. And stories from real life, with a nice moral to them, are popular as well, especially if they're about fornication and similar scandalous vices.
Can you give me an example?
Well, recently a priest by the name of Jan Hus started preaching in Prague, in the Czech language, and the people liked it. I hear he always has a full house. A journeyman who heard him told me what Hus is preaching, and I like the sound of it. I'm thinking about putting it in my own repertoire.
What's so amazing about it?
The preaching of Master Jan Hus about Mother Church. The lamentable wealth in which the church is drowning has turned to poison, and nearly the whole of Christendom is contaminated. Just like a flock of hungry ravens, they settled on this land to devour every grain of gold and silver. They know no mercy. Their hearts are corrupted by longing for wealth, and they shamelessly profit from everything. You want to baptize a child? Pay. You want to steal and murder? Pay and you will have absolution. What if the devil himself were to pay? Would he ascend to heaven too? With such money gained from the poor, they buy beautiful horses to ride and needless servants to pamper them. They gamble at dice and dress their whores in expensive furs, while Jesus Christ walked barefoot and had no place to lay his head. Look to your consciences, you robbers of the poor, for you are seen by God and his people too. Amen.
Well, this Jan Hus character is quite a rebel.
Oh, the congregation will love it.
I don't doubt it.
Let's drink to that.
Funny. That last bit reminds me of someone.
What do you mean? My situation's completely different. Huth preaches against the prelates and the clerics who are robbing the poor. Look at me. I don't have a pot to piss in. I'm no better off than the folk I preach to. I'm one with them in poverty and suffering and everything that troubles them. I drink with them and curse those stuffed habits in Sasau Monastery.
Thanks for the sermon, but I think I've been morally uplifted enough. It's getting quite late. What are your plans, Father?
What do you suppose? We have a drink, of course.
That sounds like a good plan.
I knew you wouldn't let me down.
Przyszła bida mora lat, to nie ustoi żadnej chlap. Na kraj panu dziesnej smutek, do dnielno i rano utek, niech ich małżeński majstrat, do wczorajszylne staje krak. Už sejmoj svatý muži, nechtěl bych bejbě i kůži, nám je to jedno a tak si dáme jedno a požerem si huby jako poslední den. Půlkem se vápí, panorama slávy a tak vypad sudy a posaď se mi sem, tak posaď se sem a vypad je ven. Ukaž kozy jako vozy, zejtra jen tu soudnej den, tak nalej mi hned a točí se svět. Ty pleska vůbec nikdo neví, zase zítra Ježíš a
Enough of this!
Bailiff! Come on over here, sit down and have a drink with us.
Don't vex me again, Father. It's 3 hours past dusk, and curfew is long gone.
So what?
So, I'll have you all whipped and put in the stocks, and I'll write a letter to the bishop about you, priest.
Well, nothing to worry about then. Everyone knows the only one around here who can write is me.
Enough! Men, throw them out.
You looking for a fight? Henry, back me up.
Come on then, bailiff.
You'll get
You wanted
more.
to fight? So come... Bastard. You'll get your penance now. It's a sin to fight so badly. So, my dear, would you like to have a little ring on the bell? No sooner said than done.
I'd love to. And Henry, too, I'm sure. Right, Henry?
Stop that nonsense, Godwin. Are you out of your mind? What will people say?
They can say what they like.
Here we are. Look at this beauty.
Oh. We can't do this, can we?
Who says? Get ringing, wench.
This is wonderful.
Ah, bloody oath. And now, my dears, comes the climax of the evening.
Godwin, you old goat.
Come here. Oh.
The priest has mounted up. What do you say, Henry? Shall we take a little ride of our own?
Well, I have to say that was a fine evening.
Godwin, you beast! Get up! Do you hear me? Wake up, you drunkards!
Oh,
Fucking hell. Where the... Oh, what the... Oh, who the hell are you? Oh, Henry. My great friend, Henry. Didn't we have a wonderful time?
Well, you certainly did, you old lecher. Now you better pull yourself together quick. You haven't much time. There's some water and something to eat on the table there, but if I were you, I would move my hairy arse before my flock eats me alive.
Oh, step on my head. My guts. Oh, my poor suffering stomach. What was that woman on about? Wait, before my flock eats me alive. I've forgotten something. What have I forgotten?
Where the fuck am I?
What the fuck was it? Oh. Mass! Oh, shit, I have to say mass. I gotta say mass. You have to help me.
How? You're the priest.
I can't do it in this state. Maybe the liturgy. But I have to give a sermon as well. Oh, this is a disaster. They're gonna excommunicate me.
I'd like to help you, but...
You can. You can do the sermon for me.
What? So, first I investigate a murder no one wants investigated. Then I drunkenly keep the whole town up all night. And now you want me to preach at them from the pulpit? Do you want them to burn us at the stake?
No. No, I've got it. Suppose that Sir Ratzig's protege. You just came from studying in Prague. And you want to share the words of Master Jan Hus, who you recently heard preaching there. Henry, look. From what I remember, we might have overdone it a bit last night. And if the bailiff or someone else complains about me, the bishop's gonna have my guts for garters. So I'd appreciate it. Stop gaping at me like a stuffed squirrel and start helping.
You're mad. You're stark raving mad.
I'm not. It's a perfect plan. It's flawless. Oh. How about this? If you help me with this, I'll tell you who Lubosh's cronies are.
We'll never get away with it.
Not if you make a hash of it.
Well, all right. But I can't make any promises about what'll happen.
No, neither can I.
What do you want me to do exactly?
I'll go and start the liturgy. Then I'll introduce you. You give the sermon I told you yesterday in the tavern, and that's that. No need to drag it out. If it turns out well, I'll tell you what I know about Lubosh.
Christ almighty. Fine then. We have a deal.
Wonderful. Let's get to it then. What's the matter with you? We have to start Mass. It's already late.
I thought he'd never show up. The swill pup.
Look at him. He can hardly walk after his capers last night.
You were with them, you beast. Just you wait.
Look at him. Mother of God, any minute now he'll throw up.
Animals, I couldn't sleep a wink last night with all that clamor.
In nomine Patris, et Filii, et Spiritus Sancti. Amen. Accepit panem, in sanctas at venerabiles a manus suas. Hac facite in meam commemorationem.
Brothers and sisters, you may have had the honor of meeting Henry from Skalitz, who is here at the behest of Sir Hanush to investigate that heinous crime at Neuhof. You might not know that Henry recently visited Prague, where, by the grace of God, was able to hear Master Jan Hus from the esteemed Charles University preaching. I've managed to persuade Henry to stand here today in my stead and tell us what he heard. Because, as you all probably know, Jan Hus is a very popular preacher in Prague. So, Henry, you may begin.
Now I'm curious which one of them will puke first.
Brothers and sisters, let me get straight to the point. I'd like to talk about the church and how corrupt it is.
That boy has a cheek.
One should not believe in the church, because the church is not God. God is above all things, and the church is but a means to salvation, which the prelates do not care to hear.
He's right.
It is the corruption of God's pastors here on earth that has brought misfortune on our heads. Plague, cumens, hunger, and chaos. The accursed wealth that the church is drowning in is poisoning almost the whole of Christendom. When dogs are fighting over a bone, take the bone and they will stop. Just like the flock of ravens that has descended on this land to peck up every speck of gold and silver. They show no mercy. Their hearts are poisoned by covetousness. They trade everything. Everything is for sale. You want to baptize a child? Pay. You want to steal and murder? Pay, and you will have absolution. And the prelates sin and give themselves absolution.
For shame! Shame upon them!
It is the custom of the gluttonous prelates and monks to preach against sin. But what do they know of us ordinary folk? Let us remember the marriage at Cana, where our Lord Jesus Christ himself feasted with the other guests and drank his fill. And when the wine was gone, he performed a miracle and created more. He, whose companions were poor travellers, simple folk, prostitutes and troublemakers, performed a miracle so the feast could continue.
Now that's the kind of sermon I like to hear.
No, brothers and sisters. Jesus did not condemn alcohol. Drink to lighten the cross you bear in this vale of tears, but not with such abandon that you cannot keep holy the Sabbath. For there should be moderation in all things, and it is not drinking itself that is sinful, but intemperance and beastly indulgence.
He's right.
Greetings, Henry.
Enough about sin, which the prelates are so fond of preaching about, and whose absolution they promise if you pay enough coin to Mother Church. What if the devil himself were to pay? Will the bishops tell us he too would ascend to heaven? And what about those bishops? They sin without remorse, and with the money grasped from the poor for indulgences, they keep fine horses and hordes of servants to pamper them. They play dice and garb their mistresses in expensive furs, while Christ, the Lamb of God, walked barefoot and had nowhere to lay his head. Look to your consciences, you robbers of the poor, for you are seen by God and his people too.
Down with the prelates. Away with them.
We're fortunate to have our good Father Godwin. At least he's a fair and simple man.
I say to you, in the words of Jan Hus, He who knows much, let him speak much. He who knows little, let him speak little. Let each speak as much as he knows, and he who knows nothing, let him at least teach his neighbour one virtuous deed by setting him good example and refraining from playing dice and from fornication. And that applies both to priests and to you, brothers and sisters.
That's his conclusion?
That is all I heard in Prague. Amen.
The lad spoke well, considering what a soak he is.
He's right, that huss.
The young man shouldn't drink so much, but the Lord's given him a silver tongue.
I don't suppose I'll ever get to Prague, and he told it nicely.
Well, well, my boy, you have talent, and I can't deny it. And you pulled a thorn from my side. I almost didn't make it.
Yeah, I noticed. And I wasn't the only one.
Oh, what's to be done? I'll make it up somehow.
So, about our bargain.
Although it's a sin.
So gluttony and fornication.
God does forgive a penitent.
So, what did Limpy Lubosh tell you? Was he at Neuhof that day? Who was with him? And where are they now?
Now, slow down. I'm sorry, but he didn't tell me that much.
Don't let me down after all I've been through. For you...
Well, now Lubosh came to me shortly after it happened. His conscience was gnawing at him. And I must say, in the end, he turned out to be a better man than he looked. He said they'd been hired through some crony of theirs. And at first they were just to steal some horses. But then it all turned sour and people started getting killed. And neither he nor his cronies wanted anything to do with that. So they fell out from the gang and fled.
Fell out? Yeah, there was a body found in the woods by Neuhof.
That would explain something. Lubosh kept jabbering that he wasn't a murderer, that he didn't want to do it.
So I know that Lubosh killed the murderer and he's dead too. The trouble is, I need to find the ones who are still alive. I need names and places. Did he mention any of the others?
Only nicknames. Talked about some fella called Riki from Ledechko, Pius, Timmy.
Pius. That lot are about as pious as I am ordained.
Nonsense. You would make an excellent priest. And anyhow, with your skills, you ought to be able to sniff out this Riki from Ledechko, right?
Well, we'll have to now. There's not much else to go on. Let's hope he's not hanging from the wall too.
Indeed. And I'd hate to be excommunicated for nothing. Anyhow, good luck. You watch out for yourself. These people clearly mean business. And I'd like to raise a tankard with you again someday.
Yeah, I'll try. Although I'm not sure I'd survive another night of your debauchery.
And if anyone should ask, you heard nothing from me. I'll deny everything.
I don't doubt it.
Lord bless.
Good day to you. What do you need?
Is there anything suspicious going on in these parts?
Indeed there is. Just last night, Father Godwin was here, calling fire and brimstone down on old Gertrude, the herb woman. He's not one to make a fuss over some trifle either. Oh, and another thing. Around here, you should hear about what Vashek the groom has been up to at the stables. When the head groom told the lads here, they fell off their seats laughing.
Well then?
I'd like to make use of the bathhouse's services.
And what is it you'd like?
I'll certainly need a physician to treat my wounds. Then a hot bath and laundering my clothes.
As you wish. Do you have the coin?
I'm not giving you that much.
And how much are you willing to pay?
Hey!
Let's have a word about the price.
Well, we can try it.
What about this?
That's better. Drop it a bit more and we'll call it a deal.
That's a sum I can live with. I'd like to make use of the bathhouse.
So,
A bit of everything.
as you wish.
I'm not giving you that much.
And how much are you willing to pay? You won't regret spending the money. I guarantee it.
Is there someone here who...
Try voting. God bless.
What the hell are you doing?
Do you know where I can buy and sell things?
Well, if it's food you need, go and ask in the kitchen. But if you want something else, I can't help. One of the villagers might know. You're the young fellow who came here from Skalitz half dead, aren't you?
Yes, that'll be me. Why?
The lady of the castle was asking after you. She wants to talk to you.
Ah, I'll go and see her then. Thank you.
Very well. Don't make her wait.
God save. Can I help you with anything?
I heard you wanted to talk to me, my lady.
It's true. I need something from you.
How can I help?
My cousin, young Sophie, is going to be wed. It will be an entry into a new life, and I want everything to be perfect for her. I'm looking for a few things to give her as a gift, and you're going to find them for me.
My lady, why me?
Normally I'd let the Chamberlain take care of it, but he doesn't have any taste. I can't trust him with this. And I've been told no task is too challenging for you. Is that not true?
It will be my honor, my lady.
I need you to pick up an ornamental crown from Sasau for Sophie, wine from a merchant in Ratai, and a roan from the stable in Ujitz.
Who am I supposed to pick up the wine from?
From Conrad Hagen in Ratai. He's the only person in the whole region who can supply a genuinely good wine. And believe me, I know what I'm talking about. Here you go. That should be enough.
And the ornamental crown?
I had the engravers in Sasau make it, but now they've written to say it will take a while longer. That just won't do. The wedding is almost upon us, and I need it. Go and see Master Jeronim Slesky and pick it up.
You said a roan from Ujitz.
Precisely. It's a beautiful animal. Wait till you see it. Dietrich said he'd ride it here himself, but I can already imagine how he'll end up killing himself on that horse. But you, so young and vigorous.
Wine, a roan, and a crown. I can handle that.
Thank you, Henry. I just wish there were others here I could trust so well.
My respects to you.